today's article, we're going to look at some strategies you can utilize in your training regimen that protect your shoulder and enable you to bench big.
I'm here today with Tracy Weimer, USA Volleyball Beach National Player and 2011 Beach Collegiate Champion. She's going to help us out by showing some of the exercises and stretches that you can utilize for staying healthy to bench big. First thing Tracy's going to help us show is just static stretching, something that you can do before and after any training. So we're going to be stretching the pec major muscle here first. So what we're going to have Tracy do here, you can find some type of pole, doorway, some type of structure to put your arm against. Okay, so she's going to start at 90 degrees here and just do a little bit of a forward body lean. Okay, so you feel a stretch, right? Also, we want to stretch different areas of the pec muscle fibers. So she's going to raise her arm up to about 120 degrees here at the shoulder. Same thing, stretch forward. Okay. And then for a flexible athlete like Tracy, if she needs a little more stretch on those muscles, she can take a little lunge step forward, okay, to increase the amount of stretch on the pec. Okay. And then lastly, for the pec minor, the smaller of the pectoral muscles, Tracy's going to have her hand, again, either at 120 or 90. She can work in both ranges. And now she's just going to add a rotational component to it. Okay, so now she's just going to rotate in her trunk to get stretching through that pec minor. Okay, the next exercise Tracy's going to help us show is just a general mobility for the glenohumeral joint or the shoulder. Okay, so she's going to put her arms up against the wall, right? So you want to start at a height where you can have the back of your hand, your wrist, forearm, elbow, and back of the arm all against the wall. Okay, and then what you're going to do is just slide your arms down to a point where you start to feel any portion of your arm coming off the wall, and then oscillate once you're in that region. Okay, so 2 to 3 inch oscillations. And this is just a generalized shoulder mobility drill that you can utilize. Okay. And to progress this exercise, she can now do movement from her legs. Okay, so she can move her feet out away from the wall just a little bit. And now, keeping her arms in a fixed position, she's going to now squat. Again, getting motion at the shoulder joint, just utilizing a different movement. The next 3 exercises we're going to demonstrate here are for the Serratus Anterior, which its primary function is a scapular stabilizer, which is, again, really important for keeping your shoulders healthy when you're benching. So Tracy here is going to show us the first exercise called a push-up plus. So it's basically a push-up motion utilizing only scapular protraction and retraction, which is the main movement for the Serratus Anterior. So for this exercise, you're going to keep your elbows locked out, shoulder relatively neutral, and just protracting and retracting at the scapula. The push-up plus exercise can be executed in a supine position using free weight. Okay, so Tracy's going to take this dumbbell here in her hand. Again, you can do this unilaterally or bilaterally, depending on just your preference and availability of equipment. Okay, so same thing here, elbows locked out, weight is directly over the shoulder. She's protracting her scapula upwards and allowing it to retract back. The last exercise here for Serratus Anterior activation is called the dynamic hug. Typically you want to use a power band from Elite Fitness to do this. You can do this without resistance, but it's more effective when you have a band for resistance. All right, so Tracy's just going to put the band around her back here. And the motion is you're acting like you're hugging a tree trunk or something that's too wide for you to get your arms all the way around. Okay, so so thinking about that motion will, again, protract your scapula. And as she comes back, allowing it to retract. Again, the main motion here, protraction or retraction of the scapula to promote Serratus Anterior activation. The last exercise we're going to show here today is called the sleeper stretch. It's just a good generalized mobility exercise you can do in preparation for your bench day. Okay, so the point of the sleeper stretch is to stretch the posterior shoulder capsule, which is usually a cause for generalized immobility in the shoulder. All right. So Tracy here is going to put her arm at 90 degrees. Okay. She's going to take her other arm here, pull her arm into internal rotation towards the table. When she gets to a point where she's feeling a full stretch in the back of the shoulder, that's one thing you want to make sure that you or your athlete you're working with isn't feeling a pinch in the anterior front part of the shoulder, but it's a stretch in the back. Once she gets to that position, she's going to hold that for 15 to 20 seconds. Okay, then she'll come off of the stretch, back down into the stretch for, again, 15 to 20 seconds. If you're an individual that can get your arm pretty flush with the table and you need to increase the stretch in the capsule, what you can do is just roll your body forward. Okay, that helps close the joint down, puts a little more initial stretch on the capsule, and you go into internal rotation, 15 to 20 seconds. So when you get to the bench, there's three things that we want to highlight here. Number one is scapular settings, so putting your scapula in a good position to be able to bench. Number two is your grip width on the bar. And number three is the angles that your elbows will move through the motion. Okay, so the first thing that Tracy's going to demonstrate for us is doing scapular setting. Last month in our article with Chad Wesley-Smith, we looked at a couple exercises you can do to achieve that medially retracted and depressed position. Same thing on the bench when you're doing this exercise. Okay, so Tracy is going to utilize that motion. Okay, so she's going to bring her scapulars together and depress down. She's going to take a little wider grip here, right? Little wider than shoulder width. Unrack the bar, and then go down to the bench position where her elbows are almost at 90 degrees to her body. Okay, then she can press up. Right, go ahead and rack. Typically, that's a position as far as grip width and elbow range of motion that can predispose the shoulder to injury. She's a little narrower grip here, just wider than shoulder width. And as she comes down, her elbows are significantly closer to her body. Those three things in preparation for a bench: scapular setting, grip width, and elbow range of motion through the movement are three important factors in actually performing the exercise.
We hope today's video was helpful, and we hope that you utilize some of the strategies that we showed into your own personal training regimens. As always, if you have any questions about what we talked about, please email us at performance@paradigmdoc.com. We also invite you to join us on Facebook by liking our page. You can also find other articles on our website, www.paradigmdoc.com. And you can also visit our partners at Juggernaut Training Systems for other helpful video articles related to sports performance and training.